Hello and welcome back. I know DBT skills can be hard to memorize. It might be hard to know where to get started, or maybe you're really well versed and knowledgeable in DBT skills and you're looking just for a handful of skills that are easy to use. You can go right to. These are my 5 DBT skills for beginners. I'm going to get right to it and let you know that there's an entire module missing from this video. It's interpersonal effectiveness. Those are definitely not beginner skills, so as a heads up, those skills will not be included in the video, but we will be using skills for mindfulness, distress tolerance, and emotion regulation. Skill number 1 is wise mind. Those familiar with DBT will know it's the Venn diagram of rational, logical mind, as well as emotional mind, and the middle spot is wise mind. Wise mind is all about finding the balance between the two. So if you are needing to be effective, which is a very DBT word, in gardening, and today your goal is to finish gardening that big flower bed that's sitting in the back, and you need to weed, and then you need to plant next, and then water it, and then soon you will have beautiful tulips year after year. In using the skill of wise mind, you might be feeling really emotional about something. Maybe tulips bring up some emotions for you. Maybe you're having a challenging, rough day. Maybe there's a lot of other things going on, and you're thinking, oh, I'm trying to get this done for 6 weeks and you're beating yourself up over it. Either way, there's a lot of emotions attached to it. At the same time, the logical mind, the other half of you, needs to make sure that you measure out 6 inches between each one. They need to make sure you get all of the weeds because you have invasive plants in your area and it's very easy for things to go haywire and for your flowers to not bloom later on. You need to make sure that you have all the equipment and all the tools that you need in order to get this done right. And if you make a mistake, it might be really hard. You might not end up with the outcome that you want. And once again, to be effective, your goal here is to plant the tulips and have them bloom and look lovely. In using wise mind, you're kind of using a combination, meeting in the middle of these two halves. And in doing so, you have the tools. Maybe you're taking a couple of deep breaths. Maybe you're doing this task. It takes 2 hours and you're doing it in 20-minute segments and taking lots of breaks because you're feeling really emotional in the moment. Maybe you're choosing a date and a time that works best for you. So you're able to be calm and collective and be able to do a good job being logical in doing so. Whatever it may be, you have a plan, you have the tools, you have the plants ready to go. The hose is sitting right next to you and your focus being wise mind, which is planting these tulips and doing so in the correct way. So wise mind is balancing those two halves. Next up is self-soothe with the 5 senses. This is one of those DBT skills I think we're all using at some point in our life. Babies self-soothe, it just kind of comes naturally to us. So self-soothing can be anything from bubble baths and face masks. The book also talks about things such as putting on lotion. I really like scents, so I always have candles. And lately I've been even using a little bit of perfume on my wrists. So as I go about my day, I suddenly just get this really relaxing scent that I find really enjoyable. There's a million ways to self-soothe and it can be very kind of unique to whatever it is. For a lot of people, it includes 5 senses. Maybe there's specific music or specific sound or instrument that you find that helps you soothe and helps you remain calm. It could be a mint or something else. I've been seeing a lot on TikTok talking about sour candy. It's the same thing, kind of takes you out whatever your head is doing up here and has you focus on something else. Next up, speaking of sensations, is tip. Tip, in very short summation, is what people like to call the ice diving skill or the ice skill. It is focused on changing the temperature. Typically, it is cold. The idea is that you're kind of jarring your mind. You're sort of forcing your body and its whole cavemanness to focus on the fact that it is cold. So quick tips in doing this. Traditionally, it is a bowl of ice water that you dunk your head into. I've also used frozen vegetables out of your freezer or an ice pack or even a water bottle or a cold towel on your chest or on your back. Once again, the idea is that you're feeling something else. Your body and your brain immediately go into kind of a bit of a survival mode of oh, this is cold. We need to maintain a certain temperature, 98.6 degrees. So, this is cold. And it kind of stops you temporarily temporarily from thinking about whatever may be distressing for you. The other parts of tip involve like intense exercise, like doing jumping jacks in place, doing a quick run around the block, running in place, doing something that kind of gets your heart rate up also does a similar thing. Next to last is ABC please. I'm going to focus on the please part of this, although it does kind of go together in other realms. The please part is treating physical illness. You're focusing on sleep in the skill. You're focused on balanced eating. You're focused on exercise, whether that's going for a walk, making sure that there's some leafy greens, whether you're consuming a vegetable and some fruit in your day. It's focusing on getting a good night's sleep, going to bed earlier, kind of being more planful about what your night looks like in order to get a better night's sleep. And the please part is just really like a baseline of self-care for a lot of people. If that gets out of whack, other things get out of whack. If you're having an intense amount of back pain and you haven't gone to the doctor or followed up with a physical therapy appointment. I think we've all heard the term hangry, hungry and angry. So making sure that you have food in your body. I always have sort of snacks around in case things get busy. I don't find myself in kind of a lull. I personally get hangry and a little cranky at times without food. Make sure you're drinking water, kind of doing some self-care. And the last one is half smile. This is always really silly, and every time I film this, I feel silly filming it. It is another body skill. So the idea is that you're doing something with your body that kind of jars and in some way tricks your brains to being like, we're not depressed. We're happy right now. We must be happy because the body is experiencing an expression that looks like happiness. So half smile is a physical body sensation. I will move a little bit closer to the camera for this. It is not like a Cheshire cat smile. It is not like a smirk. The idea is that just the corners of your mouth have the slightest bit of upturn. So it's, inconspicuous. No one is gonna be like, what's going on with that lady at the bus? It's supposed to be really subtle, and the idea is by doing the slightest thing, you are sending some chemical waves to your brain that says, we're happy right now, we're having a good time. Even though deep down you might not be feeling like that, it's a good skill to use kind of in the moment. If there's something uncomfortable, it doesn't feel right. It's also a good interpersonal skill in some way. If you're in conversation with somebody, if the topic is something that you don't feel comfortable discussing and you're maybe thinking about how to develop boundaries or how to maybe get out of the situation, half smile is a good skill to make something that's not bearable feel more bearable temporarily. So once again, I will demonstrate upward turn, no teeth, no bright eyes, just a really basic little boop. Voila, that is half smile. So those were 5 skills that can be helpful to you, some beginner and basic skills to get started. It include wise mind, self-soothing with the 5 senses, tip, ABC please, and half smile. Thank you so much for joining me today. Feel free to like and subscribe for more DBT content. I hope that you take care and stay skillful.